Welcome to Drips of Consciousness. I am Christel Crawford, and you are invited to a completely different world where my epiphanies in consciousness could change everything for you. I never want you to believe me, ever. Not anything I say, not anything anybody else says. I never want you to believe anything that anybody else says. What I want for you is for you to know, not believe. And the very first tool that Gary Douglas and Access Consciousness gives us is, one of the very first anyway, is, hey, if it's true for you, it'll be light. It'll be spacious. It'll give you a sense of space and possibilities. If it's not true, it'll be heavy as a rock. It'll weigh you down like crazy. And so I want to give you that as the first tool. Actually, when I was first found Access Consciousness, when I first found it on Facebook, as a link on one of my old friends' Facebook profiles, and I went looking for what this thing was. I could not figure it out. 2 weeks later, I found the website of a facilitator that wasn't very far from me, actually, and I emailed them, and I'm like, what the heck is this Access Consciousness thing, and where can I start? And she said, well, you can start anywhere with this access stuff. What would be light for you? What's light is true for you, and what's heavy is a lie. Would it be lighter to have a session? Would it be lighter to take a class? And I did not know how to use the tools, so I actually literally put my hands out in front of me as scales, and I put the session in one hand and the class in the other, and I weighed them back and forth physically. That's not how you use the tool. But I did choose, and I ended up getting a bars session that changed the entirety of the world, because here we are. That one bar session changed the trajectory of my whole life, and now it's changing the trajectory of thousands of people's lives worldwide because of what I'm choosing. And that's the power of following what's light for you. So when I say I don't want you to believe me, I mean it. Access Consciousness is not another religion. It's not a cult. It's not something where we ask you to give up your old beliefs in favor of these new access things. Fuck no. You need, and what we want is for you to follow what you know. And listen, there's all kinds of assholes in access as well. People that will tell you things instead of ask you a question. But fine, there's assholes everywhere, even in access. What do you know? So, one of the questions you can use when you're choosing something to access what you know is, what will my life be like in 5 years if I choose this, yes or no? Now, a couple things about that question. It doesn't sound like a yes-no question, but the yes-no is to help you from not fucking yourself over by not listening to yourself. And that's one of the tricks I use. And you may need to add truth at the beginning of that question, because if you add truth to anything, that person, you, has to tell the truth. So, truth, what will my life be like in 5 years if I choose this thing, yes or no? And then truth, what will my life be like in 5 years if I don't choose this thing? Okay? That's one of the things you can use around choices where you would tend to try to go into a lot of thinking or figuring it out or making it a logical thing. There is no logic. Logic is invented. Again, you don't have to believe me. See if that makes you lighter. So with choice, it's only you have choices that create more and choices that create less. And what kind of choices do you want to be making? So that's one of those tools that you can use around choice that will give you a sense of a future that you can't define. You just know that if you choose this, your life's going to be greater in 5 years. Boom. And those are the ones that I follow. There's other ways to use this tool, but one of the primary things I do want to say about this light and heavy tool is it's not a feeling. I see a lot of people with this tool try to make light and heavy into a feeling. Well, let me feel into this choice. That's not awareness. Awareness is a feather touch, a space, a sense of things. And so don't try to solidify this into a feeling, just get a sense of it. If you choose that thing and your life just gets lighter, greater, more spacey, go with that. If you're always choosing in the direction of the choices that scare-sight you, like make things lighter and greater and are kind of scare-sighting, your life is going to get so great so fast. But if you pause to think about it, it's going to take much longer. So with everything that anybody says, we're in a particularly information-laden age, I guess. And a lot of the information that's being given out on social media and in the media could be tampered with. We don't, quote unquote, know. Just get this. No matter how weird the information is, if it gives you a sense of space and possibility, if it doesn't have any charge to it, if it doesn't land like a brick in your world, that's true. If it's got charge to it and it's heavy, that's not true. And that includes when you judge yourself, by the way, or when you're sad or when you're angry. Is any of that light? This is where you got to go to another tool, which is called Who Does It Belong To, which I will do another drip on. But just get that, a lot of people are going to ask you to give up your beliefs in favor of theirs. What I'm inviting you to is a reality beyond belief, is a reality where you actually get to know what's true regardless of what people are saying. And you definitely get to know what's true for you. So what would it be like to access a world where you can trust you, where you can actually know that you know, and where you become the source of what's going to make your life greater regardless of what anybody else says is going to do it? What would it be like to have a reality where you get to know? Thank you so much for listening to this show. My target is to make consciousness easy to find. So if you enjoyed this, please leave a 5-star review and also share this with a friend who you know might be looking for more consciousness in their life. You can visit me on ChrystelJoyCrawford.com, and to learn more about the incredible, life-changing tools of Access Consciousness, go to accessconsciousness.com and theclearingstatement.com, and be sure to subscribe to the podcast.